Hi, Miss Ibarra. So for this assignment, I chose number 8, which was design your own t-shirt, and my design should be up here somewhere. And first I want to talk about the newspaper boy holding up the newspaper that's just extra. The reason for that is because throughout this whole story, by the way, my book is The Murder of the Century by Paul Collins, and basically throughout this whole story, it's basically the two dominating newspaper in New York at the time, who are really doing a lot of the digging and reporting and doing all the figuring out of the mystery, you know, because they want more viewers and they want more attention and they want more money, obviously. And so there's this term called yellow journalism, and that is basically the practice of journalism based upon dramatizing certain events or exaggerations on events and stories. And sometimes it may not be as factual as you think it is. That is because all they really want is your eyes on their newspaper and your money. Throughout all of this, the two newspaper companies that have been dominating this at the time in New York were the New York Journal and the New York World, and they're sort of competing against each other throughout the whole story to see who, you know, gets more information, more crazier information, whatever. So the story is about the murder of William Goldensup, not sure. And basically it's told to us that he is shot and he is dismembered and his parts are packaged, and they are thrown into the river. And throughout this beginning of the story, people are finding the parts of the body, and the detective, Arthur Carey, figures out that maybe the cloth wrapped around the parts of the body may lead to something, and it does. It leads them to Mrs. Augusta Knack, who is one of the suspects of the murder of William. The reason that is because Augusta Knack is the ex-lover of William, and tied to her is also her new lover, Martin Thorne. And so basically it comes down to these two people. So basically the reporters start, you know, blaming Augusta Knack and saying, oh, she might be the victim, you know, all that stuff. And then Martin Thorne comes into the picture, and, you know, the newspaper blames him as well, and it's all just like, you know, there. And then, so that kind of explains the newspaper thing, because throughout the entire story, the newspaper is the one that's like kind of making the entire story and telling the public and, you know, convincing people that it was Martin Thorne and Augusta Knack. They're both taken into custody, and at their trial, this is where the masks come in. In the trial, it starts to become more of like a theater production than an actual trial. There's tons of reporters everywhere. They make more seats for the reporters. Martin Thorne and Augusta Knack start hurling accusations at each other because they start turning on each other, and it's just a big mess. And eventually Martin Thorne is sentenced to death from electric chair, so he dies through the electric chair, and Augusta Knack is sentenced to 11 years, but she only serves 10. And the reason why I have whodunit at the top is because in the end it's sort of like, still Paul Collins, the author, kind of reminds us that it still is a little bit doubtful, like, did Martin Thorne and Augusta Knack actually do it, or were people just automatically convinced because of the amount of publicity that they were getting from the newspaper and all of that, you know? The newspaper were really making them out to be the bad guys, and they never even found the head of William to, you know, be the actual proof that it for sure was Martin Thorne and Augusta Knack. So that also ties into yellow journalism, saying like yellow journalism is only used to sell stories, and at this time they were really only trying to sell stories and not telling the public the truth. So that kind of wraps up everything. So hope that was good. Thank you.